But we're getting into so much shilling. We're going to start with the NFL. Travis Kelce, gigantic superstar, best tight end in the league. They say he's got a tight end. He's the best one in the league, allegedly. Allegedly dating Taylor Swift, who we all know is promoted Democrats, called Trump a white supremacist. He was in a Bud Light commercial. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge, even though he's not allowed to touch the can because they're not allowed to promote drinking technically. And now Travis Kelce is doing a V word commercial, pharmaceutical commercial. Let's just see it. Let's just see how far he's willing to go.
19 shot when you get your flu shot?
Two things at once.
Two things at once! Two things at once! I'll have two things at once, please.
Now back to two things at once.
Two things at once.
That's not two things at once.
Mom!
Travis? Ask about getting this season's COVID-19 shot when getting your flu shot.
Whoa! Get your COVID-19 shot. Isn't it so cool, bro? You can get it two different vaccines at once. Now, we could go ahead and talk about the flu vaccine if we want, Eric, even though we're not allowed to question any of that on YouTube. Shout out Rumble, shout out Getter, shout out Twitter, because you could talk about that stuff. Vaccines for the flu, go ahead. I just want to say, go ahead and look up the efficacy of those. I'm not questioning them. I would never do that. I would never question the efficacy of a flu vaccine because it's amazing. But if you go up and check on people's own data, it ranges, let's just say, wildly in effectiveness. I would never question that because I'm better than that. I believe in the science. But Travis Kelce, when I first saw this, Eric, yesterday, I thought, well, this must have been from 2020 or 2021, I mean, when everything was first coming out. And I was like, I don't like it. I would never support it. But you have to give, in the sense of leeway for that, it would be more understandable to have done it back then, even though I don't agree with it at all. And I wouldn't be a fan of a person who did that. Because it's like, you watch a channel and there's 35 pharmaceutical commercials, and it's like, would this person do a commercial for something that has the probable cause of death if it's mixed with whatever, all the stuff at the end? But this was actually brand new. This is his latest post on his social media, and obviously, why would you question that? He's got it's for U.S. residents only. He's got all the data on there. Ask your doctor or pharmacist. But now, after everything we've been through, Eric, through the last 3 years, the NFL and all their controversies as well, he's just going to go ahead and say, I don't care. This is a soulless person, I'm going to say.
Well, of course, it's all completely soulless, but I would actually say it's the exact opposite. I would say it's worse to endorse this at the beginning, not knowing anything about it, because right now it's very clear cut that it's just a money play. Like, then they were pretending to be, this is about health and science and wellness, even though they didn't know anything about it. So that's almost worse. Now it's very clear cut. I would venture to say that 99.8% of people can see through it, which is why he has disabled the comments on that post. And you go to the next post right before it, and you see thousands of comments of people saying, we can see right through this, and not so many words. And as far as that commercial is concerned, wasn't there a great little tidbit of information about this season's 19 shot? It's like, okay, so and they've been sprinkling this on us for a long time, but it's just, they throw it in there. Oh yeah, you get this season's, right there. How many times were we told that this was nothing like the flu, and then they're literally promoting it just like a flu shot from decades past, right? Like, we were told at the very beginning, this is nothing like the flu. You're a conspiracy theorist. And now it's like, oh no, you're going to have to get it every year, just like the flu shot. It's all absolutely ridiculous. And I can almost respect it a little bit more in a weird way, because he knows, we know, everybody knows it's just about money. At the beginning, when people were pretending that they knew about it, but they didn't, that is almost worse. But I can see both sides of this argument. Either way, this guy is a complete and total hack. And as far as the Taylor Swift thing, I at first people were saying that they were 100% dating, and then like his brother came out and said they were dating, and then some other reports said that he wishes he was dating her only in his dreams. So just a little side note on what's really happening with that. Who knows? Taylor Swift is an awful shill as well, even though people really seem to love her, mostly women, I suppose.
For sure. She has been pictured at his game today as an
Okay.
update to that story. But I could easily see this. It gets so much play in the news, in the entertainment news, that they could just be like, just show up at his game and you guys will remain in the headlines for weeks to come. So that could just be an easy play. This is people who are well oiled in the machine, let's say, and they know exactly what they're doing. He knows exactly what he's doing. He's had enough publicity. He has 2 Super Bowls. Patrick Mahomes knows what he's doing. He has Bud Light commercials too, maybe it was Miller or something, but he did his own beer commercial and they're not allowed to touch it. So he's just said he's selling a baseball bat or whatever it was. And they know how to get around these things. But if we look into his eyes, Eric, this is a guy that doesn't care. This is a guy who doesn't
Exactly.
take my vaccine, take this beer, I'm going to do whatever I want. In 10 years you're not going to remember this, but for right now I hope that any Kansas City Chiefs fan, which is a very strong fan base given their recent success, would say to hell with you. But then again, Eric, we have teams like the Jacksonville Jaguars, which is in North Florida next to Georgia. This isn't exactly a bastion of blue voting. They have a transgender cheerleader. So I think that
Oh, I thought that was the Carolina Panthers.
you're right. Carolina
Is that
Panthers.
the Jaguars?
No, you're right. It's the Carolina Panthers. I think
They
it's
have similar
great.
colors.
North Carolina. I mean, they were both cats. I confuse on my Wildcats, but North Carolina, also not a very blue place. I think there is this very hard complacency that football fans, and I'm a big football fan myself, there's a lot of excuse making because they love football so much. And if it was a worse sport, then I'd say it'd probably be easier to ignore it. But just like NASCAR, what's his name? Bubba Wallace, the fake news, their diversity programs. At some point, people are going to have to stick to their guns. And it seems like the only time that they actually have a problem with the stuff is kind of when it's on the field,
Bubba
but only
Smollett.
when it's from a player, which is weird. It's weird though. They had like end racism and crap at the in the end zones and everything. It seems to me that there's a contingency enough to they could put anything out and nothing will happen. They can go ahead and they can just paint the field black for a black square month, and the NFL fans would do anything. I'm lucky enough that I'm a fan of a team that hasn't done any of that stuff.
What team is that?
The Denver Broncos,
Okay.
and we can
How could
get
I
to
forget? How could I forget that you were a fan of the Denver Broncos? And I want to mention too. I know this is a little bit off base, but when we talk about all the racism stuff, do you remember? I think it was back in the news recently that the NAACP declared Florida like a no-go zone,
yeah.
and let me tell you, after having spent some months in Florida, I could tell you the black population out there for the most part is not worried about much. Like I mean, like, like think about where was it? It was
Like
somewhere
it's
in
not
Florida.
rough. Is that what you're saying?
Well, there's the black people in Florida, and now obviously I can't speak for all of them, but they're not worried about Ron DeSantis. They're not worried about,
Mm.
oh, I feel so threatened, dog. They're doing their thing. I promise you that. As Sexy Red, who had her video shoot shot up in a certain part of Florida. I forget. It was probably Miami Beach or something, but like, it's just so funny how we constantly see this. We can see it with the Travis Kelsey comments. We could see it on DJ Academics comments, DJ Vlad comments. All of the people that were told are supposed to be acting one certain way. The the numbers just aren't adding up. Like when I say number, like it gives me a little bit of hope, right? When you get so black pilled and like everything doom and gloom. But which this might actually make it worse because they can see that people don't want it and they force it anyways. So I don't know. I don't know which way to take that.
Turn it up, Jordan.